Hey everybody, CLARKSIDE here. Welcome back to Destiny. Sparrow Racing landed a week ago now, and I've decided it's time to weigh in on what I think of the mode and whether it has any potential. I'm going to try and be as constructive with my criticism as I can, but also give credit where credit is due. There are some good points and some bad points about how Bungie have got Sparrow Racing off of the starting grid. So without further ado, let's get the bad stuff out of the way. The timing of the reveal. Damn, Bungie messed up on this. Eager Guardians were waiting with bated breath for what Bungie would reveal at PSX a couple of weeks ago. We were all expecting the next DLC expansion, this year's equivalent of the Dark Below or the House of Wolves. Some endgame content to really sink our teeth into, to increase our level and light. A new raid perhaps. And what did we get instead? Sparrow Racing. Just Sparrow Racing. For 3 weeks only. Don't get me wrong, I've been an advocate of Sparrow Racing for a long time, but really this should have been the supporting act, not the headliner. If we had a larger content reveal like a DLC or at the very least a new raid, and then Bungie revealed Sparrow Racing, then I think people would have lost their shit in the right way and would have been a lot more enthusiastic about it. Bungie did then go on to address Year 2 plans in a following weekly update, where they stated there would not be any DLC-like content drops for the rest of Year 2. Instead, we're going to have a more regular rotation of smaller content like the Festival of the Lost and Sparrow Racing. I'm not going to weigh in on the pros and cons of that Year 2 strategy right now, that is a topic for another video, but I will finish this point by saying this. Timing is everything. If Bungie had given us some kind of context for how Sparrow Racing fits into their Year 2 plans, then perhaps the initial reaction from a lot of people would have been a lot more positive. Moving on now, microtransactions. That is one nasty word. There isn't a single swear word in the world that offends me. You could call me a motherfucking thundercunt or an equivalent in any language, and I would just laugh it off. But one word that really offends me is microtransactions. I need a shower just after uttering that word. The trade-off for all this free, and I say free in inverted commas, content is that it's supported with microtransactions. Okay, well, the Festival of the Lost got away with microtransactions because it was all purely cosmetic and there was no light levels on any of the gear for it to actually improve your character. You weren't buying power or additional features. If you equipped any of the items, then it actually lowered your overall light level, and that's fine. What does Bungie go and do with Sparrow Racing? They go and goddamn lock a lot of your racing stats behind a paywall. What kind of bullshit is that? Comparing your stats against your friends and claiming bragging rights for your fastest laps is one of the main reasons why people play racing games of any kind. Locking this feature behind a $10 or £8 fee is going to be detrimental to how players receive this new mode. If they were going to charge anything at all, then make it a minimal fee like $4 or $5 or £3 or £4. They would probably sell more logbooks this way and overall generate more income in doing so, especially considering this logbook is only relevant for 3 weeks. Also, I find it bizarre that there's no kind of league table to compare your times against your friends. It seems odd to have your fastest lap times in a logbook, but omit a simple feature like a league table. Finally, my last criticism before we move on to the good stuff is the number of tracks. At the moment, it's a good job that this is a timed event for 3 weeks, because players are already getting bored of the 2 tracks in the mode after 1 week, never mind 3 weeks. I get why Bungie limited the amount of content in this initial incarnation of Sparrow Racing. It would have been a massive waste of manpower and resources to launch with a truckload of tracks and then the whole thing to bomb. However, if they had just given us a 3rd track and then done the old racing game trick of a mirror mode for each track, then there would have been a bit more variety than what we have right now. Okay, that's enough of bashing Sparrow Racing. What's good about this mode? Them new shaders. That's it. End of the video. See you later. I'm just kidding. There's some solid foundations here for Bungie to turn Sparrow Racing into something truly great. They've sped things up a lot, and that's a good thing. No one wants to cruise along at the pedestrian speeds that we're used to in the sandbox environments. They've somehow managed to remix the mechanics in such a way where it feels like you're playing a futuristic racing game that is evidently inspired by Wipeout or F-Zero, but at the same time doesn't make you relearn how to pilot a Sparrow. Even though I complained about the lack of tracks earlier, one thing I must commend the live team for is the design of the tracks. What Sparrow Racing lacks in quantity of tracks, it makes up for in quality. Before this was revealed, I always half expected that if Sparrow Racing ever did turn up in Destiny, then it would be repurposed chunks of the sandbox environments, because there are a few places out there, particularly in the Moth Yards and the Cosmodrome and sections of the Moon, that already lend themselves really well to track design. It's great to see that the live team at Bungie built entirely new tracks from the ground up. This is something that they're really invested in and aren't going about in a half-arsed way. Bungie have also spiced things up with a design by incorporating shortcuts, hazards and multiple routes, often on different elevations. There's enough to experiment with that even after 100 plus races, I'm still finding more optimal lines and ways to take corners, particularly how you use the track as a weapon against other players and cut them up on the corners. Next, let's talk about them rewards. At first, the rewards are purely limited to Sparrow racing gear with no defense stats to speak of, but once you hit rank 2 with SRL rep, then you start to unlock gear with defense and armor can be potentially used outside of SRL. Once you hit rank 3, then items between 310 and 320 defense start dropping. Even if you don't keep any of the gear, it's great for infusion and helping with that light creep towards 320. What if I told you you could earn 3 exotic engrams per hour? You think I was having you on. Well, if you've got a stack of 3 of coins going spare, then you can use them on your Sparrow Racing. I use one at the beginning of each race, and the drop rate has been somewhere between 2 and 4 exotics for every 10 races. Considering 10 races takes about an hour, and based on my current tally, I'm averaging 3 exotics for every 10 races, that's a pretty easy run. In fact, if I compare my drops from an hour's worth of Sparrow Racing against my Nightfall rewards, there really is no contest. I wonder why I even bothered with the Nightfall this week. One thing that I think Bungie have done really well in Year 2 is giving players more options with how to reach maximum light levels. Sparrow Racing joins the King's Fall Raid, Challenge Mode, Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris. With this added variety of different routes you can take to light level 320, also comes a greater variety of gear to help you get there. SRL doesn't disappoint either. There's sets of aerodynamic armour that will help you reach the endgame, as well as a whole new range of shaders and sparrows. So not only can we choose how we reach the higher light levels, but we can also choose how we look. It's a massive improvement compared to Year 1, where every Guardian was limited to a single set of raid armour to reach max level, and everyone looked the same. We are truly becoming legendary with how we can give our Guardians a more individual flair. I'm looking forward to seeing how SRL fits into the rest of Year 2 and beyond. The only way we can make sure Sparrow Racing grows and improves is by showing our support and giving Bungie constructive feedback. If there is something that you think is great, then share it, praise it, let them know what works. If you have an idea on how to improve things, then let Bungie know through their forums, tweet them, post on Reddit, if you dare. A lot of the main improvements to the game so far have started off as community feedback. That's about all I have to say for Sparrow Racing for the time being. There'll most likely be a couple more videos over the next 2 weeks. If you're new to my channel, then make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with all my latest Destiny videos. If you've enjoyed this video, then please hit that like button. It motivates me to make more videos, and let me know how you've been getting on with Sparrow Racing in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. This is CLARKSIDE signing out.